Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and this video is really hard for me to make because we're going to talk about how to beat my favorite deck in Modern, Creativity. I'm going to talk about some cards that are good against it and some overall strategies in how to play against it. So let's jump right into it with one huge misconception that a lot of people make against Creativity. Targeted removal is not that good. Now, yes, you can interrupt a creativity for one with a removal spell, maybe a creativity for two with two removal spells, but targeted removal as a whole, not awesome, because the creativity opponent can take their time and hold back creativity until they can creativity for a bunch, have some protection, or just play the mid-range game with you. If you're trying to hold up removal, like they can just start attacking in and just like wait until you tap down enough that you can only have one or two removal spells and then creativity for a million. So targeted removal is not good, which means you have to fight creativity on the stack. And there's a lot of different ways to fight creativity on the stack. One of the easiest ways to fight creativity on the stack is counter magic, right? So counter magic obviously is wonderful. Being able to just stop creativity on the stack, often it requires only one spell, sometimes two, because especially post board, creativity has a lot of ways that they can protect their creativity on the stack. And remember, main deck, they always play Spell Pierce. But really avoid targeted removal. That is the first most important misconception that I need you to understand. The second really important misconception is Grafdigger's Cage does not work against creativity. It does work against Transmogrify, though. So let's read Grafdigger's Cage and then read Creativity and Transmogrify. So Grafdigger's Cage says creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Okay, that makes sense. So Indomitable Creativity says, destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until an artifact or creature card is revealed, and exiles that card. Those players put the exiled cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle their libraries. So it exiles the card from their library, and then they get put from exile onto the battlefield. So Grafdigger's Cage says it can't enter the battlefield from graveyards and libraries, but it's entering the battlefield from exile. So Grafdigger's Cage does not work. Really important misconception. However, with Transmogrify says 4-mana sorcery. Exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. That player puts that card onto the battlefield, then shuffles the rest of their library. So Grafdigger's Cage will stop Transmogrify. Most creativity players side it out post board, and most creativity players only play one. So don't side in Grafdigger's Cage. Other ways that you can combat creativity, kind of moving away from the weird misconceptions and whatnot, is Veal of Summer. So Veal of Summer can protect your counter magic from their counter magic. Awesome. That shouldn't be the reason you play it, though, because your creativity opponent is probably also playing Veal of Summer. And it always feels really bad when you try to counterspell creativity, your creativity opponent Veal of Summers, and you're looking at a Veal of Summer in your hand, and that interaction does not work. But what you can use Veal of Summer for is for Archon of Cruelty. So Archon of Cruelty targets. If you have Veal of Summer in response to the Archon of Cruelty triggers, Archon of Cruelty triggers do not happen, which allows you a chance to untap and maybe answer the Archons. So that's something to think about. I actually think Veal of Summer is pretty good, especially in that capacity, and especially if you're trying to fight the creativity on the stack like I talked about. Maybe the biggest threat to creativity is Orvar. Orvar, the all form, is creativity's kryptonite. Orvar, the all form, is a 4-mana shapeshifter, 3/3, but that doesn't matter. Changeling. One of you has an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets blah, 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 that part doesn't matter either. But the very last part does. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So what this means against creativity is they hit an Archon. Archon forces you to discard a card. You discard Orvar, trigger Orvar's ability, target your opponent's Archon. I get an Archon now. Sacrifice something. It's normally your opponent's Archon, whatever. I get to draw a card. I get my Archon ability. And then your opponent passes the turn to you, and you get to attack with your Archon token. Which is absolutely disgusting. If you're worried about your creativity matchup, playing a few Orvar on your sideboard is incredible. It's so good, but not against me. Next up, one more diverse sideboard card. Orvar is pretty much only good against creativity, but is insane against creativity. A much more diverse sideboard card that where you get to fight creativity on the stack is Hallowed Moonlight. Hallowed Moonlight is a 2-mana instant. It says until end of turn if a creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead and draw a card, which means that it doesn't care that it's entering from exile like the Grafdigger's Cage thing. It is entering the battlefield and it not being cast. So what happens is they cast Creativity, you cast Hallowed Moonlight. They can't stop the Creativity now. Creativity resolves. They reveal their cards, and the cards that would enter the battlefield, so let's pretend it's a Creativity for 2, they hit 2 Archons, they go into exile instead, and we move on. Which is really good because it gets win conditions out of your opponent's deck while destroying creatures, because they need to destroy creatures for the Creativity, and getting a Creativity out of your opponent's hand, and you get to draw a card. Just disgusting. Also, gets through your opponent's Veal of Summers. Hallowed Moonlight doesn't care if your opponent casts a Veal of Summer. You're not fighting it on the stack with counter magic, you're fighting it on the stack with just a white card. And Veal of Summer does nothing against that. So really, really strong, something to think about. Hallowed Moonlight is more diverse because it's also really good against all the Cascade decks and stuff like that. Obviously, against any combo deck, especially a 1-card combo deck, hand destruction is excellent, right? So things like Thoughtseize and whatnot, it's very, very good. The issue is there's not a lot of good Thoughtseize decks in Modern right now, but it's something to think about. Hand destruction is always good against these decks. But also, please remember that Creativity is also a decent mid-range deck alongside this 1-card combo. But it being a 1-card combo makes it really fragile to this hand destruction. And I'm going to say this in how to beat every deck. And I feel like every other how to beat series that I've done on this channel, I've talked about this. But go underneath them. Apply pressure. Like, aggro is really underrated. Try to go underneath these combo decks, go underneath these mid-range decks, play aggressive decks, or at least apply pressure while you're doing all of these other things. Because the thing is, if you give these really powerful decks time to do their thing, they're gonna eventually do their thing. You need to apply pressure while you're casting Hallowed Moonlight, while you have Orvar in your hand, while you're doing your thing. You need to be applying, because Creativity grinds really, really well. And if you're not bringing their life total down low, they're going to beat you. But hopefully this video was helpful using my insights as a Creativity player. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.